servants are in Anne Lopskal and for how long? Within the Ministry of Romy, there are 2 civil servants in Anne Lopskal, one from 2012 and the 2017, and the other one from 2014. This, of course, would seem very long. One of the reasons why is that the one from 2014 has been out for some time. That's being dealt with. In 2017, that is being addressed now in a current advice to retroactively address that situation. Moving to the questions of MP Egbert Drendy Duran, was it April 2023 or 24 when it was announced that the housing project was taken off the table? And can Parliament be provided with proof that the project has been cancelled? What can we do to assist? So the question is missing. 1 second. Yes. Thank you. Through Madam Chair, in my Central Committee meetings, I will clarify the statements that I made regarding 2021-2023 dealt with the list of requirements, obligations the government had to do between that period until 2024, which was then, if you allow me to share some of the documentation that I have managed to pull up. And we start. The World Bank to the Honorable Egbert Duran, Minister of Romy at this time, dated October 18th, 2023. And I take note of the following. Following the pre-appraisal mission conducted from September 18th to 22nd, we'd like to raise several important points for your attention and necessary action. These points are crucial to ensure timely project projection implementation. As I've stated, both in the media and I think during all 3 of our gatherings of Central Committee, these areas were the following. Transferring the land parcel 095-2011 to the St. Martin Housing Development Foundation. 2, approving the revised performance agreement. 3, confirming the Romy focal point for housing to work with a senior policy expert, and 4, creating an interministerial committee for housing. This is October 2023. Moving forward to March 25th, 2024. A letter to the Office of the Prime Minister from the NRPB, CCing the Secretary of the Council of Ministers, so all ministers who would have gotten this, as well as Steering Committee Rep for St. Martin, Ronald Hallman. Now, important to note is that in October of the previous year, the conditions were already laid out that these had to happen. There were crucial missing points for this project to happen. Fast forward to March, the tone of the letter has changed, and I read, the Steering Committee will focus on whether all projects can be completed by June 30, 2028. Based on the latest available information, the expectation is the World Bank will not support an extension of the trust fund and will question whether the housing project and the wastewater project can realistically be completed before the trust fund's closing. I go on to another paragraph, Madam Chair, through you. The NRPB recommends that the St. Martin, through its Steering Committee representative, initiate bilateral discussions with the Netherlands on an alternative mechanism for the completion of the housing and wastewater project. I repeat, an alternative mechanism. And other projects that may not realistically be completed before the current trust fund closing date. This is March 25th, 2024. It goes on to say, Madam Chair, to the extent that there are significant concerns that the project cannot be completed within the trust fund timeframe, an extension is not possible. Bilateral discussions will have to be initiated to see how the project can be finalized after the trust fund closes. A possibility that can be explored through a Steering Committee representative is to reduce the scope of the project under the trust fund or to finance the construction component through CapEx loan of the Netherlands. A decision on this matter will require a separate decision of the Council of Ministers. We go on to now This recommendation also came that this information be made clear in a steering committee meeting that was planned for April 8th. As we all know, we cannot necessarily mention or discuss what's discussed in COM, but I will indicate that on April 17th, so a week or so after the steering committee meeting, which was already indicated that it will be off, and I will say, through Madam Chair, I've already requested the World Bank through NRPB to provide me with the final document that was submitted. But needless to say, the fact that all of these recommendations up until March 2024, 25th of March, steering committee meeting happened a week after that, and to date, none of the following requirements have actually been done. It was communicated via the steering committee. The project will be pulled. The letter of the Council of Ministers of the 17th to ask, and I can be very vague because it's a calm decision, to see what can be done as a pending request to prevent the loss of funding. At that point, the funding was already lost. And through you, Madam Chair, I'm awaiting that confirmation because the minutes were not unfortunately shared, so that will come in a letter that will come to me and then be shared to the Parliament at a later date.
Sir, go through some correspondence. All I've been asking for is for some evidence to justify the cancellation of the project. Now the minister is saying that the tone in the letter changed. I'm only hearing the tone of the minister change in reading the letter. So please, with all that being said, it's nice to read all the correspondences. I would like to receive a letter that states that the housing project is off the table. Because we went from 2023 to 2024 and I still haven't heard it. Please clarify. And again, I want to reiterate, for me, it's about the facts now because you're basically making it look like we misrepresented the truth. And I just want clarity, and I also want to move forward so that we can get this project going. Thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to the answer, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Duran. Minister Gums,
Yes,
can you react to the question, comment by MP Duran at this time?
Yep, thank you, Madam Chair. Just again to clarify, it was not my tone, but if you read the letter, which the good MP would have, it speaks about pre-approval, pre-appraisal, several things still pending after the timeline of negotiations that has to be done. Nothing is mentioned of risks in the October letter. The word risks and the tone being changed is not my tone, it's what's in the letter. It speaks over several times and it's highlighted here, and it's a document that's not made by me, it's in by Div, questioning the possibility of this project even happening anymore. Then I ended by saying that the World Bank will be supplying me with that letter, confirming very shortly, hopefully before the second round is finalized tomorrow, that the project was off the table from April. So with all of this documentation that builds from the October to March to then April, the letter will then confirm what has been said now, I think, for several months, and hopefully it can be laid to rest, that this housing project was off the table as of April, not any other time or later time than that. Because, and if I can, through you, Madam Chair, I would, if the MP is querying if it's really been lost under me, I would invite him to actually propose to me where any of the 4 requirements for the housing project were achieved before April 2024. They have not been achieved.
MP Duran, do I see you wanting to make a second interruption?
I want to expound on the first interruption because I still didn't receive an answer, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, the minister clearly said, I was the minister, so that is the new me, so to speak, right? If I received it, then you should have it. Because my whole argument, I wouldn't spend months discussing something that didn't happen. And it was not an imaginary story. We went to Washington, we had all the plans in place. So if I received it back then you should have it in your possession, and please provide it. I've been asking for several weeks now from the first Central Committee. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Duran, for that interruption. And I now give the floor back to the minister. Minister?
Thank you. On that request, we'll await the letter to end the discussion regarding this housing project. All right. The MP had another point, Maho, that it was issued and reissued based on a policy that I signed in January 2024. The policy that I signed to extend any decrees that were in the process of expiring was simply to allow the ministry time to complete the land issuance policy. And of course, the second question was then, did the people of St. Martin benefit? Allow me to clarify through you, Madam Chair, I never said the MP signed a policy. I stated he signed a ministerial decree that extended the term for passing at the notary for all previous MBAs regarding long lease. The reissuance of the long lease in Maho needed to be done and could unfortunately only have been reissued to the same and current owner of the long lease property. As stated during Central Committee, only the area in the original May brief was reissued. The people of St. Martin and the country financially are and will benefit from this reissuance greatly. The canon per square meter has been raised from 1 guilder cent to 6 guilders with retroactive effect to the date of the decree 2021, and in 5 years, the said date 2026, to 12 guilders per square meter.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social health insurances.
It's hurricane season. Are you prepared? Here are a few tips to keep in mind to help keep you and your family safe. The Atlantic hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th, with the peak occurring between mid-August and late October. This hurricane season, be sure to put together a go bag. A disaster supply kit including a flashlight, batteries, cash, first aid and supplies, medications, and copies of your critical information if you need to evacuate. This public service announcement was brought to you by the government of St. Martin.
The Honourable MP, through you, Madam Chair Lady, is questioning the legal basis of the operation and license. And I will remain consistent in the answer that I gave, but I'm going to maybe elaborate a little more. The authorization for these lottery booths is found in Article 3, Paragraph 1, under A of the Lottery Ordinance, and in Article 2, Paragraph 1, under C of the National Decree containing general measures. For the implementation of Article 3, 3rd and 5th paragraph, and the 4 and 4 second paragraph of the Lottery Ordinance, the issue lottery license states that the lottery license holder must send to the minister an overview of the locations from which the lottery tickets are sold. In addition, each new point of sale must be reported to the Finance Department and the Department of Economic Licenses. They operate under the lottery licenses of the license holder, the lottery company, for which they sell tickets and do not have their own business licenses from the Ministry of TIAT, nor are they operating as an independent legal entity, BV and NV. In addition, the national decree that is currently at His Excellency the Governor will have the regulations clearly defined for the lottery's license holder booths and point of sale. In this national decree, the following matters are regulated. The lottery license holder needs to ask the minister for permission to have a sales point. The lottery license holder have to pay monthly vergunningsrechts for each sales point. And each sales point has to comply with the legal requirements and withdrawal of permission. This will also ensure fees are paid monthly, by extension assist with compliance of taxes. Once the decision process is completed, all required information will be made available via publication. The lottery license holder will be granted the time to prepare for the new rules for their license, and this information should be provided by SZV, respectfully, the Tax Inspectorate Office and Receiver's Office, page 77 of 165. The lottery booths currently operate under the license granted to the license holder. The license holder is either a NV or a BV, and as stated earlier, this matter will be further addressed on the decision on the national decree that is made by His Excellency the Governor. So I hope this is the basis that they have been using to operate on, and if the MP, through you, Madam Chair Lady, believes that this ordinance does not authorize the lottery booths to operate, perhaps the MP can perhaps clarify if needed, if he does indeed the booths are operating illegally, and if so, what measures does the MP maybe suggest that Minister take to address the matter? I am always open for constructive suggestions, so always open. But this is all I have, and this is the legal basis that is allowing them to operate and has been allowing them to operate. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
Only question that I received was from MP Arian, who asked, in Aruba, they at least have 25 million a year based on the lottery booths. Research was started and should be in the ministry. The MP finds it something good to continue. Does that policy still exist, or the start of that document? Is the minister aware of that documentation? There is one company in Canada that was behind it and does it for all of them. Has any of those discussions continued? Through you, Madam Chair, I am not aware of this document, but I would like to ask the MP Arian, through you, Madam Chair, if you would kindly share it with me so that I can review.
For me to give the vision of the sentiment of government towards the presented motions in Parliament. The first motion that has been presented is from MP Utley. MP Utley, through the President of Parliament, I have great feeling of alliance with you and understanding, and I want to express my gratefulness to your sentiment and sensitivity for the less fortunate in our community, to the ones that are most vulnerable in our society. And that is what I like of you, that you are in the same frequency when it goes to injustice, to poverty, to suffering, to challenges. I'm enormous in sympathy with you in that vision. On the other side, as a government, it has to be also in a way that the system stays in balance. And actually, if I analyze, or we analyze, or I analyze the resolves presented in your motion, I can agree with all of them, because I really think people are now in the right of getting some financial relief. But I do believe that the second option of a resolution, a proposal for a solution, is going to be actually in a form that you can have also parties that are going to misuse the system. For example, if you say, if you have a debt of 4,000, 5,000 guilders, you're going to intentionally withhold yourself from paying, build up your debt, and then you're going to go to the company and tell them, okay, I'm going to pay 50% now, because that is an approach to a proposed motion of Parliament. So on the other side, if we talk about relief too, we have to also include the seniors in our community. So if we want to really have inclusion of the most vulnerable in our community, I think it has to be a holistic plan that, in the sense, the real vulnerable ones will be protected and helped. And only, unfortunately, only for item number 2, if I could have turned it back and take out 2, I could more than 100% sympathize with it. At the other side, if you're going to give, on the other side, if you start giving clients 50% discount, it's going to be to the detriment of our utility company, and I'm in a difficult position that I have to think on both sides. Not taking away that you're an inspiration with your approach, and I want to really, in the name of the people of St. Martin, thank you for that. And I will commit myself to pay attention to the other proposals in your motion and come back to you for your assistance to help me with that. But unfortunately, for the second point, it's going to be very difficult to guarantee security for the continuity of and sustainability of the finance of GEBE. And I will continue, because I have very bad feelings that I will not be able to support it, continue to think about other ways to try to bring the real relief that our people are in their need of for our people of our country. Concerning the second motion presented by a Member of Parliament, Doran, is also one that I'm very, very happy for and very sensitive, because it's in line with my vision of my social affinity to try to help people. And I really think, especially when you lose relatives, members in the family, you have a lot of worries already. And I really think, especially seeing the amount of civil servants that we have lost in the past months, and lose from that in general, if you're a civil servant or not, I think the worries and the sorrows are so enormously that I really think that whatever we can do as a government to help the people, even if it's financially, it's going to actually help them a little in their pain in dealing with God's will.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurance.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurance.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the $40 billion Spark program will be focusing on correcting decades of underinvestments into our local road network. Speaking at a party meeting in central Manchester last evening, Mr. Holness said the 3 steps his administration will be taking to correct this problem is to do a comprehensive assessment, to put the roads on a grading system, and to establish a routine maintenance regime. As a result, he says this will take some time.
And I want all Jamaicans to understand that. that once the road has passed its useful life, no matter what you do with it, no matter how much time you patch it, it's just going to break up back again. That is the situation that we have in Jamaica. I understand the frustration because you don't want to hear what I am telling you, because when you're dropping a pothole, no matter what explanation I give you, you're vexed, you want your road fixed.
Holness, however, cautioned that not all roads will be fixed under the Spark program. However, his government has initiated a program for sustainable rehabilitation of the country's road network.
Now is that we have allocated the money, we have gone through the process of approval, and by the end of this month, we should be in a position to start the repairs to the roads which you have selected. You are going to see many of what I call the pain point roads, the roads that give you a problem. Those roads will begin repairs in earnest.